GG.
That's my friend! And you're found you!
Hola, ¿qué pasa? Okay, today I just wanted to quickly talk about the meta, most effective tactic available, and how maybe to think about it a little bit. Let's start. Of course, there's difference between solo queue and pro play. I think Riot is doing a decent job at like bridging the gap between solo queue and pro play, because last Worlds, for example, a lot of the picks that were viable at Worlds were also viable in solo queue, and it wasn't always like this in earlier seasons, so I think Riot is doing a pretty good job there, actually. Just, bridging the gap between metas and solo queue and pro play. In pro meta, like, the thing in pro meta, for example, that is much different from solo queue is that usually junglers need to play tank in certain metas because top lane has the stronger carry characters and you need a tank. So in order to enable certain strategies for coordinated play, you need a tank. And that's why, like, for phase checking, for example, if you have a Sejuani, you can just phase check and back out again without too many problems, right? If you have a Nidalee, on the other hand, it's like much more difficult. What do meta picks do? Usually, in my opinion, meta, let's do the overarching idea first. Like, is meta that important? I don't believe it is. I mean, it's becoming less and less important, in my opinion. Champion mastery trumps it so heavily. It heavily depends on elo as well, And with elo, that's why I'm not saying lower ranks, because I think until diamond, even maybe even higher, maybe master tier, a meta pick basically increases your potential value in a game, in my opinion, by around, I'm just using numbers, 1%, I'm just using the 1% as a placeholder to make very clear how little impact it is, but how this little impact can make a big difference, so it can increase your potential value by 1% if executed properly to the level of your opponent's champion mastery. So in low elo, 1% value is not a lot, because if you last hit a minion properly and your opponent misses a minion, you're already ahead by 1%. So if it doesn't matter what character you take, if you just get more golden experience, you will be stronger, But on the other hand, in higher elos, basic mistakes from your opponent don't happen as often, which means the 1% potential increase in value from the meta pick will make a big difference. If both of you are at like 100 value, but the one of you plays a meta pick and the other doesn't, and you're suddenly at 101 value and the other one is only at 100, that is where the champion difference makes a big difference, and you will always win those fights, right? Because it's just a stronger character right now. But in lower elo, if you're at 100 value and your opponent missed 20 last hits but is playing a meta character, he's at like 81 value and you're at 100, just because you're playing more consistently. It doesn't matter what your pick is, and in that sense the meta doesn't have as big of an impact. I hope that makes it like a lot more clear, the impact that meta can have and why it's less effective in lower elo. It can still be effective, of course. I mean, if your current champion, you can do both, right? Even in lower elo. If you're starting out and you're thinking about which character should I play, the first best option is to pick the character that you like, because you're gonna stick with it, League is a marathon, you need to play a lot. And on the other hand, yeah, you could just play a meta champion and learn that one. You could do that, and then you also do have the 1% extra bonus to your power level, basically, potential power that you can have in a game. And it's not set in stone. That is why, for example, at Worlds, the meta develops as the tournament goes on. And it's the same in every split in League of Legends, At the start, certain things might look good, and then things get buffed and nerfed, which usually, in my opinion, doesn't have a big impact. Buffs and nerfs don't have an impact in a lot of situations, I remember a lot of the early buffs and nerfs in League of Legends were placebo effects, even, like 5 movement speed, and all of a sudden the character drops by 30% win rate, which makes absolutely no sense. And it's all it is a whole mental game around it. If you think something is strong, you're gonna treat it differently. And that is also why I think watching guides and champ specific or patch specific videos is actually counterproductive, because you're gonna have the wrong impact. What you actually should be doing is going into the game yourself and feeling it. Feel how does it feel to play against these characters? Is there any difference? Not even knowing the difference, right? That's even better. If you don't read the patch notes at all, it's actually better for you, because you're gonna go into the matchup as you do usually, and then probably perform as per usual. And if there's a massive change and you see, for example, like a character uses an ability completely differently, or it interacts differently, then you can think, okay, the character got changed. How do I readjust my playstyle to deal with the current change, right? And that's different. That's basically how the meta evolves. And usually the best players make the meta in a sense as well. Like, there's a lot of characters that get one-tricked and all of a sudden they become meta because the one trick showed everybody how strong it can be played. That's why, League of Legends is way too complex to fully understand what is meta at any given patch, because it's gonna get changed again and again and again and again. And knowing what's the best champion, it's not gonna work. So the most effective and consistent strategy is actually to just pick something, play it, and see what the limit of it is first, and then maybe adjust going forward after that, right? So that's patch specific, so we don't have to talk about any specific characters here at all. That's the way to think about it, and that's the important part, I know a lot of people, not a lot of people are gonna watch this video, but I guarantee you the idea behind this video is like 5,000 times more important than watching a champion guide, because the person making the guide just makes it to gain attention for the current patch, It's not actually helpful. If you're watching these guides, it's kind of useless almost in a way. And this idea of how meta impacts the game is timeless. So it's much more important to understand the whole concept instead of any specific patch things, That's just my idea on the patch. Specific side of meta, which is not that important. You should be figuring it out through the lens of your champion mastery champion by just playing. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. I'm very sleep deprived these days, so I'm not even playing that much. I can't, I feel like I'm just completely cooked. There's just a lot of stuff that I'm doing, so yeah, I'll get back on the grind soon, and I hope you have a good day. In the meantime, enjoy.
You walk along the edge of danger, and it will change you. Why would you let this voice set in your head? It is meant to destroy you.